There's only 7 left in it. There's only 7 left in it. Come on, turn.
Yeah.
The old icons couldn't catch them. Look.
I can't see it, it's just so bright.
Goodwood Revival. We'll see fabulous touring car action, including Jaguar Mark 1s battling Austin A35s. On 2 wheels, there's an amazing grid of champions, and in the Blue Ribbon RAC Tourist Trophy, there's a multi-million-pound lineup of Ferraris, Jaguars, Cobras and Aston Martins. And we've even got double world champion Emerson Fittipaldi in a Corvette Stingray.
And off-track, we'll be taking a look at some of the fabulous period features and displays, and taking a look at a unique aviation competition. And on track, I'll be getting post-race reaction from the winning drivers. But first, Murray's caught up with 2 of the big names preparing for the first race.
Now for the St Mary's Trophy, for a fabulous collection of 1950s touring cars. That means Jaguars, BMWs, even Austin A35s, and a dazzling parade of drivers, especially 5 times Le Mans winner Derek Bell, and all the way from the USA, Indy champion Bobby Rahal. Now, gentlemen, I have a question for you two. You're both in Jaguars, but you've let an Austin A35 take pole position. Derek, how can that happen?
I wish you hadn't asked that. It's a bit embarrassing, really. All I can say is I beat it 2 years ago. That's the only answer I got. And we'll be trying to have a go this time. But, you know, they make that car work extremely well. I swear my grandmother's car never went as well as that. But they've done something that makes it work well.
Bobby, you've been here before and you've come again, and it's wonderful to see you. It's a long journey. What's the attraction from your point of view?
Oh, well, it's number one, the cars, the people, but for me, you know, I don't think it gets any better than this. And, you know, historic racing I enjoy a great deal, but you come here and it takes it to a whole different level, and of course the chance to drive all these great cars and always loved racing in England anyway, so it's just, for me, it's just a lot of fun.
So it's a great circuit, Derek. I mean, did you come here in your youth and watch it? And when did you start?
Well, absolutely, Mary. I mean, I used to be a marshal for Bognor and Chichester Motor Club, so I used to come up here when I was 14, before I was allowed to drive.
You're in a touring car today. What different types of car, apart from that, have you driven?
Here, well, Formula 3, basically. And we used to test Formula 2 and the odd bit of sports cars. I had my Porsche 917 test here. And, of course, all the Formula 1s used to come here. I drove for Surtees testing in Formula 1. So everything, I've driven everything here except for the Can-Am McLarens. But I was too young then. I used to sit on the bank and watch Bruce and Denny.
So, the St Mary's Trophy, how do you see the main opposition?
Well, it's the A35, isn't it, really? In fact, it's all 5 cars ahead of me. That's the problem.
I really don't understand how a tiny little thing like that with a 1.3-litre engine can be so incredibly quick.
We're not the best people to ask about that, Murray.
Well, Jackie actually owes it to me because I towed him down the back straight on that
Yes,
lap.
you did. He told me.
He was in my draft the whole way, so, you know.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, you've both got work to do, so it's over to you, Simon, for the St Mary's Trophy.
Thank you, Murray. So to the St Mary's Trophy for saloons that raced here at Goodwood between 1950 and 1959. Jackie Oliver, 1950 and 1959. Jackie Oliver on pole position, Anthony Reid's Jaguar alongside him, Tony Dron on the outside of the front row. On row 2, Andy Russ with the humpbacked Volvo PV544 and Tony Jardine's little Austin A35. John Fitzpatrick on the inside of row 3, Derek Bell's Jaguar and Barry Williams' little Austin A40 alongside, and then row 4, Emanuele Pirro with the Alfa Giulietta and Stuart Graham's Ford Falcon. John Felix drops the flag now. And a great start by Anthony Reid from the middle of the front row, gets the horsepower of the Jaguar hooked up. The little A35s aren't going to be quick in a straight line, but Jackie Oliver is tucked in behind it. It's Tony Dron. Tony Dron who goes into the lead with that unlikely looking Ford Zodiac. Tony Dron leads Anthony Reid. Jackie Oliver is in 3rd place. John Fitzpatrick coming up in number 6, the beige Austin Westminster going well, and Barry Williams is there in the little Austin A40 as well. So Barry Williams coming up alongside John Fitzpatrick, 3 different types of Austins. Barry Williams just kissing the grass briefly and getting alongside John Fitzpatrick on the outside as they go into Ford Water. Now this is St Mary's into the left-hand section of St Mary's, number 3, Barry Williams and the A40 there. But it's the Zodiac that's leading with Tony Dron at the wheel. The Zodiac leads there. There's Anthony Reid in 2nd place, Jackie Oliver 3rd, Barry Williams 4th. 5th is John Fitzpatrick. Up into 6th place now has gone Derek Bell. But now the Jaguar goes alongside the Ford and Anthony Reid alongside Tony Dron. Jackie Oliver has lost 3rd place because John Fitzpatrick has got past him, but the Jaguar and the Ford could not be closer. They don't touch, but these are 2 great drivers driving so close now. They're not going to get through the chicane side by side. Anthony Reid takes the line. Reid the leader. Dron in 2nd place. And now I think we're going to see John Fitzpatrick coming through in 3rd place. We do. Fitzpatrick is 3rd, Oliver is 4th, and Tony Jardine has moved up into 5th place ahead of the Volvo as Dron goes through on the inside this time at Madgwick. Dron driving absolutely superbly, wringing the neck of that Ford Zodiac. Oh, and a bit of a moment there for Jackie Oliver, who locked up his brakes. He's absolutely on the limit. And Tony Dron has a problem. Tony Dron is slowing. It looks as though he's got a puncture. Tony Dron pulls onto the grass. That is such a shame. They were having that magical battle. Being fought out here at Goodwood. Here is this battle for 2nd place, and look at Tony Jardine trying to go round on the inside. It didn't work, and Andy Rouse is there as well. And so is the little ice blue car of Jackie Oliver, who manages to make up 2 places while all that excitement was going on. Jackie Oliver has gone back up into 3rd place. But that's the Emanuele Pirro Alfa Giulietta, which is in the pits, having its engine looked at. So the great Italian driver Emanuele Pirro, it looks as though his race is delayed, if not run. And that's Bobby Rahal in the number 16 Jaguar. He is currently in 8th place, and he's holding off Stuart Graham in that Ford Falcon. That's a great battle between 2 great drivers, Rahal and Graham. Oh, and he locks up there. Well, there's a big bump at the front of the A35 of Jackie Oliver. He hit the back of John Fitzpatrick's car quite hard. There's a big dent. Meanwhile, Tony Jardine is way off track, gets back onto the track, doesn't lift his foot at all. So we're going to see it again. What happened was that Fitzpatrick hit the brakes. There, you see it happen. And still Jackie Oliver is not letting up an instant. The pressure that John Fitzpatrick must be under as he sees this infuriating Austin A35 all over his rear-view mirror, trying first the left, then the right. There is Sterling Moss in that great big Mark 7 Jaguar. A real lumbering machine. He's just being passed by Derek Bell, who goes through the chicane. This is the Jaguar which belongs to the actor Rowan Atkinson. And here comes the little A35. And briefly Anthony Reid gets on the grass. The A35 is alongside, but this is the straight. Surely the Jaguar's power is going to tell. But amazingly, Jackie Oliver has got a run on the Jaguar. He's got the inside line as they come down to Woodcote Corner. If he can hang on to that inside line, he's going to hang on to the lead. The Jaguar is trying to go all the way around the outside. Jackie Oliver has the inside line. Brilliant piece of driving by Jackie Oliver. He holds it all together. They come down into the chicane. The A35 almost getting away from Jackie Oliver under braking. And that is John Fitzpatrick getting it all wrong. Just in front of Tony Jardine, the car went onto its side as he came through the chicane, then got the right way up. Jackie Oliver still has the lead. Anthony Reid determined to get it back again, and the race is being red flagged because of that incident at the chicane. I think that the drivers are perfectly all right, but the chicane isn't. It's been rather badly damaged. As we see the drivers down here, John Fitzpatrick and Tony Jardine are perfectly all right. Now, this is what happened. This is Oliver coming into the chicane, then Reid, and now look at Tony Jardine getting up the inside. He taps the back of John Fitzpatrick's car. That's what happened. Tony Jardine tapped the back of Fitzpatrick's car. It hit the chicane, it went onto its side, but then fortunately came back the right way up and onto the verge, but was collected by Tony Jardine. Both the drivers perfectly all right, both the cars out of the race. So the official results, Anthony Reid gets the victory because the red flag counts back, and Anthony Reid was still leading at the end of the lap before the accident happened. Jackie Oliver therefore has to be content with second place with the Austin A35. Andy Rouse third. Tiffany Dell gets fourth place with the Jaguar ahead of Bobby Rahal and Stuart Graham in the Ford Falcon.
Well, Anthony, congratulations. Was that victory snatched from the jaws of defeat?
You could say so, but I was actually going to make a race of it and try and sort of win it on the last lap, but unfortunate about what happened at the chicane. But what a pleasure to drive this car. It's fantastic, beautifully well balanced and really well prepared by Don Law.
Now, Jackie, you had actually got the lead there, but of course, because we go back a lap, you've been demoted to second.
There's two things in life that make success: knowing the right people and timing. I got the second one wrong.
This year's revival coincides with the start of the famous Bavarian Oktoberfest. So BMW have decided to make themselves feel right at home here in the motorcycle paddock with traditional fare and German beer, as well as displays from their Munich museum. But this being Goodwood, these bikes aren't here to be on display, they're here to be raced. So let's go join Murray with a couple of the riders looking forward to the Barry Sheene Memorial Trophy race.
In all the years of racing at Goodwood, there was ever only one motorcycle race, and that was in 1951. But every year at the Goodwood Revival, there is a fabulous bike event in honour of the memory of the great Barry Sheene, who won his very last race here.
Barry Sheene waggles his fingers at the crowd, and the victory is his.
And I'm here with world champion Wayne Gardner and British champion Steve Parrish. Now, you've won the first race, I would almost say again, because you make a habit of it. This year, though, on a BSA Gold Star, which is a bit different from what you've ridden in the past. How did you get on with it?
I struggle with it, to be honest, Murray. It's got no brakes, may I say. Although this circuit, you know, you can get away with not using a lot of braking. It keeps your corner speed up and your momentum going. But the gearbox, you've got to be very slow and very careful with it, and you know, there's not a lot of power. So you just got to be very gentle with it and slow with it, and try and keep that momentum going.
Steve, you're on a Gold Star as well, or supposed to be on a Gold Star, because...
Yeah, mine never got back to me, Murray, unfortunately, because, you know, it's a two-part rider thing and everyone goes out, and after 8 laps, someone should come in, but mine never made it back in. So it's my chance to start tomorrow, and I'm told by Fred Walmsley, who puts the bikes together and put Wayne's winning bike together, that he can mend it for tomorrow.
What sort of top speed were you both getting on the straight in comparison with what you've ridden in the past?
Wayne probably doesn't know, but I know when they tested here, they were doing about 125 down the back straight there.
Mile an hour,
Miles,
is it?
125 miles an hour, so it's not bad when you think back.
Pretty good.
Now, when you think that that was a production bike in the 1950s, the BSA Gold Star, and it won so many TTs, Clubman's TTs, and it's still an iconic motorcycle which people give a lot of money to buy.
And still winning races.
Absolutely, particularly when you're riding.
Oh, thank you. It's really good fun out there, and you know the crowd are really enthusiastic, and it's just a pleasure being at this event.
Quick question, round 2 is coming up shortly. Is the bike going to be in good shape for you?
I very much hope so, because if not, when the Le Mans start goes, I'm jumping on number 4. That's my plan.
Well, 2 of us are.
And are you going to do the double?
Oh, look, we'll make an attempt. Yeah, look, the next start is that Mark's got to start the race and do the majority, and then I'm going to back it up at the end. So, look, anything can happen. You know, they're pretty fragile bikes, so we'll get there and we'll try hard, and I do like winning.
Well, Wayne has just said it. He does a lot of winning. He wants to keep on winning. Let's join Barry Nutley and see whether he can.
Garden Sharrock in pole position from their qualifying. Mick Grant, Stuart Tong in second. Jeremy McWilliams set the fastest lap yesterday. Mike Farrell, Sebastian Gouche on the BMW. A great result for them yesterday. Preparing then the number 4 PSA Gold Star of the Wayne Gardner, Mark Sharrock pairing, and Mark Sharrock, number 4, will get away first, and he does indeed, but right up the outside, the BMW. That's fantastic. The Sebastian Gouche BMW, the 500 R5 BMW, alongside him as they go down to Madgwick for the first time. But I think Sharrock went well yesterday.
He certainly did. I think one of the riders got a little bit of a head start, we could say, as he ran to his bike, but he was at the tail end of the field. I didn't see who it was, but certainly Mark Sharrock leading the way on the BSA Gold Star. That's bike number 4 behind his bike 99, the BMW that went so well and came up to finish 3rd yesterday in race 1.
Now, Bruce, I have to tell you, in 3rd place, number 21, we were just eulogising yesterday about this number 21, this 1938 Norton. Let me tell you that Ian Bain's 1938 Norton parted company with its crankcases yesterday. The machine they're on now is a 1927 8.
On your screen, I'm afraid, bad news. He was in second as he came down towards St Mary, but off goes the BMW. So therefore, the bike we were talking about, 21, up into second place. Bike number 4 with Mark Sharrock still leading the way.
Number 33, they're going well. A puff of smoke. That's the Norton Dominator with Michael Neves, the Motorcycle News journalist, on board. Steve Parrish, number 6. This time, though, the bike is going. Steve Parrish looks to be riding well this time.
Just one little thing, looking at the back of the leathers of Sebastian Gouche, who pulled off beneath me. Team desolate, it says, and they must feel like that. Half a lap in this race, and they're out. Here's the start again. Look for the full start at the back of the grid.
Well spotted, Bruce. Did it do him any good, though? Well, it certainly got him across the tarmac, but the front guys were away and going. It was a full start at the back of the grid. The battle raging, though, further down the field between the number 11 bike with Dennis Bunning on board and Steve Parrish. There's Parrish, the replay, giving a wind-up. Come on, I need some more horsepower. 48 horsepower, it's delivered at the back wheel. Still Mark Sharrock then has got the lead. We'll see what the time is. Into the pits again comes the Steve Parrish Gold Star. So number 6 out of the running here. This could be a rider change. It could be another mechanical problem.
And don't forget, the order will change big time as the pro drivers get on. Riders, I beg your pardon, and of course the order will really change as they start to crank it up and close in on the bikes at the front. But for Steve Parrish, it's not been the dream meeting, I'm afraid.
So Mark Sharrock then, pit stop. Wayne Gardner to climb aboard. He's coming in this time at the chicane. The hand up denoting that he's heading for pit lane.
But at least Wayne Gardner will get to ride. Freddie Spencer will not, because as I said, bike 25 has pulled off right beneath me at St Mary's. So Mike Stavrossi's having a rotten meeting. Well, rotten on the bike, that is.
What's going to be interesting now, Bruce, is that the number 11 machine that Dennis Bunning is currently on, Jeremy McWilliams will climb on board, is in 7th place. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can do something about that and get it further up the order. Gardner then on board, the 1987 World MotoGP champion.
There we are, that's the halfway point in the race, 12.5 minutes in, 12.5 to go. And there was the bike that was leading, now with Wayne Gardner aboard after that great opening stint from Mark Sharrock.
23 then back out on the start line, but they have lost second place. They've lost the lead, they've lost second place, but they're only 1.3 seconds off number 21, the new second place bike.
It's actually slightly further because that he trips the trigger, if you will, in the pit lane, and that's before he's come out again, so the gap will be sadly larger between second and third places.
Jeremy McWilliams on board this Norton twin, 67 and 15 also in the pits. Look at his style, great wide handlebars. He crouches down. Now Jeremy McWilliams has
another place gained there.
Just under 9 minutes, and he's doing it, sweeping past already. He's on the case. Fastest man on the tarmac yesterday, 1:33.88. So is it on? We've got a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne Gardner then, not that far ahead, just 11 seconds.
Well, bike 11, when Jeremy McWilliams, a name I always trip up on, was 7th when it rejoined. He'd just taken 3rd place. There's the replay, going past bike number 23 into Madrick, down the inside, set the fastest lap, just improved on that last time around, 1:34.2.
Number 23 out of the running. That is such a shame. Out of 4th place goes the number 23, Alistair Hillaby. Triumph 650, and that is such a shame. They were going well. Well, at the last time over the line, McWilliams had taken 3 seconds out of the lead. It's now down to 14, but it's a hopeless cause, although Gardner's still looking down. He is troubled. He is troubled with that machine. Is he going to bring it home, or are we going to have some drama in the very, very dying moments of this race? He's not happy with something on the left-hand side. Maybe he can feel oil on his boot. Maybe the gear shift is proving to be a problem. We did hear that it missed gears going over the line, so maybe the gearbox is struggling, but there's not long to go now. The last lap out, the next time he comes round, it will be the checkered flag. He's approaching the chicane, the checkered flag is in sight. Wayne Gardner then, it's going to be a double win for him at Goodwood here. Out goes the checkered flag. Wayne Gardner, Mark Sharrock on that immaculate BSA Gold Star, bring it home for the victory. Confirmation of that. McWilliams then confirmed in second. Race winner Wayne Gardner. Ian Bain brought the number 21 home for the final podium place. The Ashby French pairing did really, really well. Ian Duffus and Len Haggis, 5th place for them. The first of the BMWs, Karl-Heinz Kalpfel and Jürgen Schwarzmann in 6th place.
The bike wouldn't stay in gear, particularly around the back. It kept jumping out of second and needed to keep trying to shuffle up gears, and it just wouldn't hold. So over the course of the weekend, it's just gradually got worse. And, you know, these old bikes aren't meant to be raced like that. And so I was trying to be very, very gentle with the bike in the last few laps. And the more you miss gears and it over revs, the more chance it's going to bend a valve or blow up. So I was very, very cautious the last few laps just to get it home.
Motor racing at Goodwood began in 1948 on the perimeter road of the Battle of Britain airfield, RAF West Hampnett. And each year we remember the heroes that flew from here in defence of their country with displays of classic warplanes and the Battle of Britain memorial flags. And on the ground there's a wonderful concourse event called the Spirit of Aviation.
This is the second year we've done the Freddie March Spirit of Aviation, and yes, it's better than last year. We have more aircraft and I think more interesting aircraft. You've got the single-seat aircraft, and you've got the Vickers Vimy, you've got the DC-6, huge aircraft. So it's a tremendous range. Judges looking for the how authentic the aircraft is, first of all. How difficult it was to restore it, what condition it's in now, how rare it is, how important it was to aviation, and each one gets a score. Last year we had technical people basically, this year we have some celebrities to do it, but they have got an aviation background.
Very difficult actually, some amazing aircraft here. I mean, I've read so many books as a kid about Dakotas, you know, and all the adventures that have gone on with them. But I've got my own too. One would be the Spartan, the kind of Howard Hughes plane, because then you could take a few friends, you know, and sort of all enjoy. And the other one would be the Stagwing. It's a beautiful looking plane, so it's been very hard actually judging.
I love anything that flies, so really any of these fantastic aircraft will get me drooling. I think they're fantastic. It's such a wonderful effort has been made to get all these aircraft here. They've come from all over Europe. I think they all win as far as I'm concerned, but I suppose I'd be looking for what would I really like to jump into and fly away myself? And the answer is that one. I shouldn't say this because I'm a judge, but
when it comes to motorsport event, Goodwood has always been about innovation, and this, the 10th anniversary of the Goodwood Revival, sees yet another new development, the BGC Earls Court Motor Show. And to explain what's inside and the particular connection between Earls Court and Goodwood, I have event founder Lord March. So what have we got to look forward to inside?
Well, we've got some wonderful cars, but perhaps the most exciting part of it is a concours competition, which is about what we all think might be the greatest and fastest car in the world since the 1920s. So we pick cars from every decade, and the public get to choose which they think is the greatest of those cars. We also have quite a lot of manufacturers in there: Rolls-Royce, Maserati, Ford, Jaguar, BMW, all in there showing both cars of the present day, the 1950s of course, and also cars of the future, which naturally is cars of today, but concept cars of the 1950s.
And of course it's very unusual for Goodwood to actually have modern cars here at the event.
We have had them before, but we always feel if we're going to do it, they must be hidden away within some appropriate structure. But also we thought it was a fun thing to try and sort of juxtapose the cars of then, which were the 1950s, against the cars of today. So we think it's a fun juxtaposition.
And the name Earls Court, really, it does come from your family, doesn't it?
My family used to own Earls Court a few hundred years ago, and we thought it was entirely appropriate we should have the Earls Court Motor Show, and the current owners of Earls Court kindly let us use the name. Sadly, we lost it because the third Duke gave it away to one of his mistresses, and she was last seen lying on her yacht in the south of France. So that was the end of that. So sadly, we don't own Earls Court anymore, but at least we've got our little our replica.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, from legendary marks to iconic drivers, back to Murray.
Now, 2008 is the 60th anniversary of racing at Goodwood, and it's a wonderful opportunity to honour the many legends that have raced here. And my goodness, there are so many of them, not the least of whom is the great Tony Brooks, and there's a special tribute to him to honour his achievements in Formula One and of course in sports car racing. But right here with me, I've got another legend, Sir Jackie Stewart. Now, Jackie, you've still got the lap record here, but what does Goodwood mean to you?
Very special. When I first came to Goodwood, I was a wee boy. My brother Jimmy raced for a Curious and came to the 9-hour race here. And the first time I ever drove a single-seater racing car was a test that I did with Ken Tyrrell here.
This year we've got the Freddie March Memorial Trophy, which is going to be for cars like Jimmy used to race. Tell me about his drives here at Goodwood.
Well, my brother was a really good racing driver.
Indeed.
Drove for a Curious, then drove for the Works Aston Martin team as well as the Works Jaguar team. He, I think, liked Goodwood more than any other racetrack that he ever went to. You know, the atmosphere even in those days was special. But in those days, all the big teams were here, all the big drivers were here. Of course, Le Mans starts in those days where you ran over to join your car before taking off.
Now, they're not going to be racing into the night as they did with the Goodyear, with the
That's a Murray Walker.
with the Goodwood 9 Hours event, but they are going to be racing into the twilight, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it as much as I do.
Well, I am going to enjoy it, and it's just a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure.
So the Freddie March Memorial Trophy, just like the great 9-hour races here at Goodwood in the 1950s, each car has 2 drivers and they have to make a compulsory pit stop both to change drivers and to refuel. John Felix has the start flag, he drops it and they're away, and a great start from the middle of the front row by Emanuele Pirro in the white Austin Healey. It's Pirro who's got the lead, but now Nigel Webb gets the green C-Type hooked up, and the horsepower of the Jaguar pulls him ahead. A bad start from the Lagonda, which has slipped way down the field. It's Jaguar C-Type from Austin Healey 100S, from C-Type and from Gordini. Desiree Wilson, the brilliant South African girl, is in 4th place in the little blue Gordini, but Emanuele Pirro is on Nigel Webb's tail. Nigel Webb leads in the ex-Duncan Hamilton C-Type. This is St Mary's, the second part of St Mary's, the left-hander. And still, Emanuele Pirro is not to be denied. He's trying to go all the way round the outside of Lavant Corner, the long route round in the Healey 100S. Little 2.6 litre 4-cylinder engine, and he does it. Emanuele Pirro leads in 2nd place then. It's Nigel Webb in the ex-Duncan Hamilton Jaguar, and this is Emanuele Pirro challenging Nigel Webb. Wonderful side-by-side view of them coming out of St Mary's. Then Pirro went all the way around the outside, gave a little wave there at Nigel Webb, looked across at him, went all the way around on the slippery stuff on the outside, and Nigel Webb has a problem. It may have been his own oil which was getting onto his aero screen, and whatever the reason, Nigel Webb holds his hand up. He's coming into the pits. Meanwhile, we've got Ron Maiden stopping in the little Cooper MG, John Morley's car, and Desiree Wilson comes diving down the inside, under braking. She's going to be braking very late indeed. She's got the inside line on the C-Type. Can she hang on to that line? She does indeed. David Wenman comes back at her. They're side by side once more as they go down into the chicane. Very, very late braking. They're side by side through the chicane. David Wenman has to take to the grass, fights to keep the car straight. But in so doing, Adrian Hall goes by as well. So we now have Desiree Wilson in 3rd place. Adrian Hall is 4th. David Wenman dropped down to 5th. And our leader, Emanuele Pirro, quite comfortably out in front.
And that's pretty much the tale of the race. The Healey out in front, and Desiree Wilson's Gordini going up in smoke. Even the great Sterling Moss, an original 9-hour veteran in another C-Type, was hard-pressed to make a meaningful challenge. He waved past the Adams Hall Lotus Bristol to take up the chase. The Pearson Webb C-Type was one of the first to head for the compulsory pit stop, where each car snaked around the usual parc fermé into the traditional holding area for refuelling, driver change and any running repairs. The chasing teams clearly hoped that the changeover would help their cause, but as the sun settled on a fabulous September evening, any hopes of catching the Austin Healey were dashed, as Pirro stayed out on the track, lapping the whole field before coming in to hand over to the 2- and 4-wheel racing hero, Stuart Graham. As Graham headed off into the sunset and the headlights, Gary Pearson decided the best way to make up places was to storm through the field unnoticed with his lights firmly off. The Paul Grist Carlos Monteverde Ferrari 750 Monza had been an early challenger, but that too was misbehaving now as the Michael Milligan Alec Poole HWM Jaguar tried to close on the 2nd place Nick Adams Adrian Hall Lotus Bristol. But both cars were too far adrift of Graham in the beautifully prepared Austin Healey 100S that, in a truly magnificent performance, finished the race 2 laps ahead of the nearest car. A fantastic and evocative evening's entertainment and a great tribute to those fabulous day into night races of the 1950s.
I had the pleasure to share the car with Stuart Graham, and he's a legend. I mean, he's done so much in the 2 wheels and 4 wheels. It's been really good. The car has been prepared so well, and everything went very smooth. I mean, if all the races would go like this, I would be a racing driver until I'm 100 years old.
So, a brilliant victory for Graham and Pirro ahead of the Adams Hall Lotus and the Milligan Poole HWM, with the rest a massive 4 laps adrift. With the cars off the track late on Saturday night, it wasn't quiet for long. 7:30 a.m. Sunday morning, and the crowds are back, eager to get a place around the circuit to see more racing, and in particular, the big race of the weekend.
The RAC Tourist Trophy is the Revival's blue ribboned event. It's a spectacular lineup of cars and drivers, but this year is special because the expert valuers from Bonhams have had a look down through the grid and valued it at a staggering £85 million, surely making this the most valuable grid of racing cars ever assembled. Murray's caught up with some familiar faces.
I'm here with two very famous top drivers, all the way from Brazil, double Formula One world champion Emerson Fittipaldi and the multi-talented Martin Brundle, all the way from Norfolk. Martin, you're driving a lightweight E-Type Jaguar. You've told us so much about the world's courses. Tell us about Goodwood. What's it like to drive?
Well, it's very fast, Murray. I think everybody knows that, and some critical bumps and cambers that go the wrong way, so the car's always ready to slide. And of course, on the side of the racetrack, a little bit of grass and then a very hard barrier. So you feel you're dancing with the car, you're really beginning to flow. Every so often it just tries to get away from you and you just swing around the track. It's really a beautiful feeling, but you do have to respect that you're in older cars, and in my case, and I think the same for Emma, we're in other people's cars that are worth a lot of money.
Now, Emerson, it's your first time. What is the attraction of Goodwood for you?
Well, I think there's so much history, so much tradition in Goodwood. To see many different generations of drivers here together in the same place with the airplanes, the cars, the people dressed. It's a fantastic event. It's unique in the world.
Now, Martin, Adrian Newey is the top designer for Red Bull Formula One. There are rumours that your Jaguar E-Type has been in the wind tunnel for 50 hours, so it's no coincidence that you're in pole position.
The car is very well prepared, very well set up and sorted, a couple of so-so drivers in it, but that new carbon fibre undertray really worked well yesterday in qualifying.
OK, thank you, gentlemen, that's it. So, let battle commence. Over to Simon Taylor for the RAC Tourist Trophy.
Thank you, Murray. So, pole position, Adrian Newey in the E-Type, alongside him Justin Law on the outside of the front row. It's Peter Hardman. Row 2 is number 1 Cobra with Rob Hall at the wheel, alongside him the brilliant Frenchman Jean-Marc Gounod. Then row 3, Nick Wigley. Next to him, the brilliant German girl Claudia Hurtgen, and on the outside of row 3, it's Ray Belm in the number 30 Shelby Daytona Cobra Coupe. This mighty field of high-powered machinery, a green flag at the back says that we're all there. Jackie Hicks raises the flag, drops it, and they're away. And a brilliant start from Justin Law in the middle of the front row in the Lister Coupe. Justin Law gets the best start. There's a lot of oil down there at Madgwick. On board now with Adrian Newey in the E-Type. And everybody safely through that oil, I think, but it's Justin Law who has a brilliant start in the Costin Lister Coupe with Peter Hardman coming alongside Adrian Newey to take second place. Adrian Newey drops down to third place. It's Rob Hall in the white Cobra who is in fourth place. And Peter Hardman pushing very hard. Rob Hall and the Ferrari side by side. That's the other Ferrari. That's Jean-Marc Gounod in the Ferrari with the blue nose, number 19, who has just vanquished Rob Hall's white Cobra. But at the front, it's that beautifully shaped, very slippery, dark green Lister Jaguar Coupe which has the lead. Hardman in second place, Newey is third. Jean-Marc Gounod is now up to fourth place, and a magnificent field follows down all the way along the Lavant Straight, getting up to about 165 miles an hour before they get on the brakes for Woodcote Corner for the first time in this two-driver race. Into the chicane, out of the chicane, Justin Law, the leader. We're with the great Emerson Fittipaldi in the Corvette Stingray. Going into the chicane, there's no way you can get past there. Adrian Newey in third place in the E-Type Jaguar, but going past Adrian Newey into third place now, Jean-Marc Gounod is third with the Ferrari with the blue nose and blue tail. And we see the start once again, and watch for the Lister in the middle of the front row to make a brilliant start. Gets going much more quickly. Several other cars coming, squeezing through the middle, but it's Justin Law who makes a perfect start from Adrian Newey, with Peter Hardman slotting into third place ahead of Jean-Marc Gounod. And this could well put the cat among the pigeons, because now Peter Hardman's got a bit of a run on Justin Law. He's going to try and go down the inside. The back mark has helped him, and Justin Law's lost the lead. A very clever bit of opportunist driving there by Peter Hardman. There was a slower car in the way, and Justin Law had to decide which side to go, and now Hardman, hanging out the tail of the 330 LMB Ferrari, has the lead. Justin Law finds himself trapped between two Ferraris, Jean-Marc Gounod in third place, but that was a wonderful move by Peter Hardman, using the traffic to his advantage. Jean-Marc Gounod still third, Adrian Newey still fourth. Driver's eye view in the Lister Jaguar, Justin Law at the wheel. And here are our leaders. Headlights ablaze, there may be some more back markers for them to lap quite soon, but Justin Law not a bit happy, I'm sure, to have lost the lead, but Peter Hardman driving simply brilliantly in the 330 LMB Ferrari. And now Jean-Marc Gounod wondering if there's something he can do about the green Lister Coupe in front of him. On the brakes, into the chicane, out of the chicane. Hardman, Law, Gounod, Newey, Hall and Melm, just as close as that. And in fact, the gap between them all now is 1.7 seconds, covering the whole of that first group. Adrian Newey in the E-Type. And now Gounod's got alongside the Lister. The Lister went a little bit wide, and that was what Jean-Marc Gounod needed. Just a little bit offline for Justin Law, and that was the opportunity that Jean-Marc Gounod was waiting for. We've now got Ferraris in first and second places, and off goes number 22, that's Mark Clubb. Mark Clubb spins his Jaguar E-Type onto the grass. There's Martin Brundle waiting in the pits. He is going to take over from Adrian Newey, and we wonder how soon Adrian Newey is going to bring in that number 24 E-Type for Martin Brundle to take over. And meanwhile, Gounod and Law still very close together. And now once more Justin Law tries to get alongside, going down the outside, going down to Madgwick, hasn't quite got the steam. We've got Adrian Newey coming into the pits now, so Adrian Newey is making an early stop. Newey gets out, it's a tight fit, he scrambles and almost falls out. Martin Brundle squeezes into this car. They've got to, of course, put the seatbelts on, which all takes a bit of time. They're still working with Martin Brundle's seatbelts, and this is slipping him down the order. Jean-Marc Gounod still has second place. Justin Law still working away, trying to pass him. And we'll see where Martin Brundle comes out of the pit. There goes Brundle now. He's strapped in, he's in the race. And when he completes the lap, we'll try and work out exactly what his position is. He will be, I guess, as he was in qualifying, the fastest man on the circuit. Welcome back to Goodwood and the RAC TT celebration race. And the pit stops coming fast and furious now. We've got the Lister coming into the pits. So Justin Law peels off, goes into the pits to hand over to Anthony Reid. There is Martin Brundle, and we have Martin Law in about 9th place at the moment, but as other cars make pit stops, that is going to move up. He's got his headlights on. There is Anthony Reid rejoining the race in Justin Law's Lister Jaguar Coupe, and that was a nice, quick, neat pit stop for him. Well, there is the Ferrari 330 LMB, started by Peter Hardman. It's now got Bobby Verdon-Roe at the wheel, and I think that car is now extremely well placed. So when Jean-Marc Gounod stops, that could well decide the fate of this race. And there is the leader, Jean-Marc Gounod, the 64 Ferrari GTO, in the pits. Gounod is out of the car. They're strapping in Adrian Newey, but there is Bobby Verdon-Roe, who crosses the start-finish line. So now things are starting to settle down. Bobby Verdon-Roe in the lead. We wait to see where Martin Brundle is going to appear. Well, there's Martin Brundle. Martin Brundle sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 27.573. Currently in 6th place, we think, although the pit stops ahead of him may have made a difference. And That's the Silver Cobra. That's Nick Wigley's car, which is out of the race. I think Barry Williams had taken it over. This is Barry Williams at the wheel of the number 4 Cobra. He'd taken it over from Nick Wigley. He got on the grass and the car hit the bank extremely hard. Fortunately stayed the right way up. Barry Williams is perfectly all right. He's out of the car. And we got the safety car out. Bobby Verdon Rowe, the leader, and he won't be happy about this safety car because, of course, it's going to close everybody up again. And we're going to see the off again. He just ran wide, got onto the grass, tried to hold it, and then the car spun very heavily into the bank. So the lights have gone off on the roof of the safety car. Bobby Verdon Rowe waiting to be able to unleash the full horsepower of the 4-litre V12 in the Ferrari, which he does now. The safety car pulls off. The race is on again. Anthony Reid getting on the power, working his way through the traffic. And behind them, we're going to get a battle royal between the Ferrari of Newell, the Cobra of Whitmore, and the Cobra of Glazel, and the E-Type of Brundle. That's going to be a 4-car battle, which will be very close indeed. And Anthony Reid trying to work his way through the traffic. He's alongside the Sunbeam Tiger Le Mans of Vern Schuppen, which he now gets by. And now he has a bit of clear road ahead of him. Anthony Reid absolutely flat out, but Bobby Verdon Rowe is tantalisingly up the road. And meanwhile, Martin Brundle is looking very threatening behind. Martin Brundle getting up behind the Adrian Newell Ferrari. That's the Ferrari with the blue nose and the blue tail. He's got a bit of his exhaust pipe falling off, but that's not going to slow him up at all. He's still absolutely hard on the power. He's staying to the outside. There is the car's owner, Adrian Newey, watching how the car is going. This is actually the battle for 3rd place now. And still Brundle cannot find a way past this Ferrari. Now, what can he do under braking forward? This is where he's going to try it. The Ferrari keeps the door very shut on the outside. And Brundle going round the outside or trying to. The Ferrari keeps the door very firmly shut. And Brundle, I think, getting a little bit angry now because he believes he's quicker than the Ferrari driver, but he can't find the way past. Now he gets a run on in coming out of the chicane, going down there side by side as they go down, and the Ferrari tries to move across on the E-Type, but Martin Brundle is there. They're going round Madgwick Corner absolutely side by side, and the E-Type has the inside line, the Ferrari goes sideways, and Martin Brundle has done it at last. Looks in his mirrors to see where is the Ferrari, and now instantly Martin Brundle moves away. This is now the final lap. Anthony Reid has certainly closed the gap on Bobby Verdon Rowe, but not by enough, it seems. The two of them come down into the chicane. Little bit of opposite lock for Bobby Verdon Rowe. The checkered flag is waiting. And Bobby Verdon Rowe wins with Peter Hardman, the head of Justin Law and Anthony Reid in the Lister Jaguar Coupe. Martin Brundle and Adrian Newey 3rd, with Jean-Marc Gounon and Adrian Newell 4th in their Ferrari. Ray Bellman and Christian Glazel 5th. And Carlos Monteverde and Gary Pearson take 6th place in Carlos Monteverde's E-Type.
Peter Hardman and Bobby Verdon Rowe, spectacular victory.
We've come close a few times, but you know, to get the lead and then hold the lead and do a good pit stop and pull in when we needed to, and then Bobby get out was great. And the pace car was worrying, but fortunately there was a couple of cars between him, so he held it, and he was holding his own anyway. He had the pace to hold it.
I definitely was not thrilled because I think I had an 8-second lead up until that point, and so I knew that it was going to be a struggle because the tyres were really starting to go, and you know, one little slip and he'd have been right on top of me, and then it would have been, we'd have to wait to the 11th year, but thank God we've done it, and it means a lot to everybody.
And sadly, that's it. It's going home time at the end of another wonderful Goodwood Revival. But never mind, we've had blue skies, glorious racing, fabulous machinery. What more could you want? See you next year.
sea I've gone, for tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. Someday you'll know I was the one, but tomorrow